James Waite interrupted Mary Hepburn's reverie with these words: "I love you so much, please marry me. I'm so lonesome, I'm so scared." "You save your strength, Mr. Fleming," she said. He had been proposing marriage intermittently all through the night. "Give me your hand," he said. "Every time I do, you won't give it back," she said. "I promise I'll give it back," he said. So she gave him her hand, and he gripped it feebly. He wasn't having any visions of the future or the past. He was little more than a fibrillating heart, just as Hisako Hiraguchi, wedged between the vibrating toilet and wash basin below, was little more than a fetus in a womb. Hisako had nothing to live for but her unborn child, she thought. People still hiccup as they always have, and they still find it very funny when somebody farts, and they still try to comfort those who are sick with soothing tones of voice. Mary's tone when she kept James Waite company on the ship is a tone often heard today. With or without words, that tone conveys that what a sick person wants to hear now and what Waite wanted to hear a million years ago. Mary said things like this to Waite in so many words, but her tone alone would have delivered the same messages. We love you, you're not alone, everything's going to be all right, and so on. No comforter today, of course, has led a love life as complicated as Mary Hepburn's. And no sufferer today has led a love life as complicated as James Waite's. Any human love story of today would have for its crisis the simplest of questions, whether the persons involved were in heat or not. Men and women now become helplessly interested in each other, and the nubbins on their flippers and so on only twice a year, or in times of fish shortages, only once a year. So much depends on fish. Mary Hepburn and James Waite could have their common sense wrecked by love given the right set of circumstances at almost any time. There on the sun deck, just before the sun came up, Waite was genuinely in love with Mary, and Mary was genuinely in love with him, or rather, with what he claimed to be. All through the night she had called him Mr. Fleming, and he had not asked her to call him by his first name. Why? Because he could not remember what his first name was supposed to be. "I'll make you very rich," said Waite. There, said Mary. Now. "Compound interest," he said. "You save your strength, Mr. Fleming," she said. "Please marry me," he said. "We'll talk about that when we get to Baltra," she said. She had given him Baltra as something to live for. She had cooed and murmured to him all through the night about all the good things which were awaiting them on Baltra, as though it were some sort of paradise. There would be saints and angels to greet them on the dock there with every kind of food and medicine. He knew he was dying. "You'll be a very rich widow," he said. "Let's not have any talk like that now," she said. As for all the wealth she was going to inherit technically, since she really was going to marry him and then become his widow, the biggest brain detectives in the world couldn't have begun to find a minor fraction of it. In community after community, he had created a prudent citizen who didn't exist, whose wealth was increasing steadily, even though the planet itself was growing ever poorer, and whose safety was guaranteed by the governments of the United States or Canada. His savings account in Guadalajara, Mexico, which was in pesos, has been wiped out by then. If his wealth had continued to grow at the rate it was growing then, the James Waite estate would now encompass the whole universe, galaxies, black holes, comets, clouds of asteroids and meteors, and the captain's meteorites and interstellar matter of every sort, simply everything. Yes, and if the human population had continued to grow at the rate it was growing then, it would now outweigh the James Waite estate, which is to say simply everything. What impossible dreams of increase human beings used to have only yesterday? What impossible dreams of increase human beings used to have only yesterday, only 1,000,000 years ago?